Good morning. It is 3:23 a.m., but it's still morning, a little earlier than usual. Hope you've been doing great, and thank you so much for being here today. Yes, I can't sleep because I keep on making mistakes. Terrible mistakes that'll keeping me up at night. I couldn't sleep. And here I am, doing what I know is best. And then for some reason, I just keep on thinking about this girl that I met yesterday. Not about like romantic point of views or anything. She has a boyfriend, and she told me, and I know that. This is just more like the kind of person that she is, And she's this girl. As soon as you talk to her, you can tell where she grew up, how she's grown up, and how she was taught. So this girl's coming in to get her nails done for a wedding, and she told me, she doesn't really usually get her nails done. Only special occasion. And that's when I know, one of the clues that I know that this is probably not the type of girl that usually would walk in here. I'm being stereotyped, but you can tell. And she had this kind of country accent. And I asked her where he was from, and she told me he's from a city. From Duke. But then, I asked, and then I tell her, you don't really have an accent that comes from a city. And then she was like, yeah, from Duke, but I'm from the countryside. And there you go. And then all of a sudden, what the fuck was I talking about? She asked me, how many siblings do I have? And then I'll tell her how many siblings I have. And then I ask her, how many do you have? And then she tell me. But then she also told me that she also has one adopted sister that is Chinese. And she would tell me how much she loves her and how much she adores her and all that. And before any of that conversation, the conversation that we had, when she walked in and I did her nails, we didn't talk for like 20-30 minutes. And at first I would assume that she is this mean, just full of herself, or, just spoiled rat, or, I'm just having all these stereotypes, or, it's just all of these assumptions. I'm not like, this is not what I, would think or look at everyone's, But sometimes we look at someone and we judge them based on how they look, how they dress, how they, presented themselves. But I was wrong, I had all the assumption about her and thinking like, she's probably just, being racist or, or probably not nice, or whatever it is. It's just not the good kind of assumption. But then once we started talking, I found we have so much in common. I found so much things about her that I would never thought of. And it just made me realize that sometimes we don't really know a person until we get to know them. Really. And sometimes, well, most of the time, people are not as ugly as we think they are on the inside. We all just were once kids, little kids, growing up. And we were handed with the cars that we were dealt with. And most of the time we have no control over that. On how we grow up, on how we were raised, on the family we were growing up in. We don't get to choose that. Whether you're a good person, bad person, I'm not sure if that there's even a right way to say it. Is a bad person really a bad person? Or it is a good person that was fed with the bad stuff that turned them into bad. But what is bad anyway? I think that's the beauty of life, We watch TV, movies, and shows, and there's always a bad guy and good guy. But in the reality that we live in, is there really a bad guy, or there's really a good guy? We always do what we think is best for us, for our survival. And sometimes we can be a bad person in someone else's point of view. But we can also be a good person in someone else's point of view. So it's all perspective. But at the end of the day, we all just a bunch of tiny creatures living on this tiny rock, floating in space and time. We're literally just a speck of dust in this in this galaxy. And sometimes I've thought to myself, I'm gonna make this podcast, I'm gonna leave behind a legacy. But then I zoom out and I'm like, one day that sun is gonna run out of energy. It's gonna explode, whatever it is. This tiny piece of rock is gonna cease to exist. It's gonna be gone. Not sooner, but probably later. 100 billion years later, or sometime soon or later. And then every trace of us could be gone. Nothing left. Then why does it matter? What's the need of leaving behind a galaxy then? The legacy then? But then I thought to myself, but what if in this lifetime that I'm having right now, what if I can do something different? What if there's something that I can change? Something that I can influence? That I can put out there in the world and people will listen to it and be like, yes, this is healing me. This is something that I can relate to. Maybe it is me hitting rock bottom over and over again. Isn't a bad problem after all, right? Because if I wasn't going through these things, I don't think this podcast would ever exist. If I graduated college and I accepted that job offer from Lenovo, the computer company, and worked there as a software engineer, I'll be making good money. I'll be finding me a good, perfect girlfriend. And I'll be living happily forever after. And this podcast would never exist. I would never be living here in Wilmington. I would never be sitting here at 3 a.m. in the morning recording a podcast. It's so true that you cannot connect the dot looking forward, but you can always connect them looking backward. And it is so easy to get caught up in the thought of the past, of what could be and what could happen. But what if there's only way? There's only one way, which is where you are now, is where you're supposed to be. And maybe I was meant to take that loss yesterday. Maybe I was meant to fuck things up yesterday, so I can be here today, so I can be sitting here making this episode right now. I was scrolling through social media, and then I came across this post that say, in order to fall asleep, you must pretend to be asleep. And once you know how to do that, once you understand that, you can do anything. And then I thought to myself, I was just sitting there thinking, fuck, this is kind of true. It's like, if I want to have certain something, I kind of have to pretend that I already have it. It's like, if I want to make the good choices, the choices a successful person would take, then I kind of have to be that person to make those choices. So I'm kind of have to pretend that I'm already there, making those choices. Same go with health and fitness. If I want to have a healthier body, eating healthy food, I have to be that person. I have to be that person who's go to bed early, eat well, go to the gym. I have to be that person. And it's so easy said and done, right? Especially the world that we live in. And if you're on social media, that's even harder. It's even worse. You're literally looking at people's highlight. The highlight of their life. And they post it on social media. And you look at them and you're like, fuck. How could my life not be like this? You're comparing yourself to someone else's best moment in life. moment in their life. And then you want it. And you look at yourself and like, fuck, I hate my life. And then we live in a society that, expecting you to go to college, have a degree, have a fancy degree, have a good job, so you could finally enjoy, be happy, be better than other people, be better than other person, because you have a degree, because you have a good job. And that is it. All those things really define who you are. I don't know. Who am I to say? But what I'm saying is that I don't go off from my point of view, from my perspective, from what I think. And that doesn't mean that it's right. But I just think that you don't have to have a fancy degree. You don't have to have a high status, social status. You don't have to have a fancy career, job, to be worthy, to be enjoying your life, to be happy, to be just feeling like you are enough. You can give yourself permission to feel that sense of completion, even when you don't have that career that you want, that degree that you want, that person, that partner that you want, that group of friends, what it is that you want. You don't have to have any of those things. And sometimes just being here, just breathing is enough. You don't have to achieve those things. You don't have to make it to feel like you already make it, right? And that's what I'm struggling right now. Trying to quote unquote make it. Trying to hustle. Trying to make more. Trying to have more. Get more. But little did I know I already have most of the things I ever wanted. But it's crazy thing about it is when you already have certain something that you once wanted, you want it less, because you always tell yourself that happiness is on the other side of the next thing. It's a hard pill to swallow. Thank you so much for being here today. And I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you for taking the time to be here and listen to this. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.